All right, and welcome to the Rain City Variety Pod. Today I have my guests Connor and Gabe on. We are going to be talking hockey today. It is the West and East Finals of the NHL playoffs. Today we have Florida playing the Rangers and Dallas playing Edmonton. So I think let's start with yesterday. Edmonton defeated Dallas 3-2 in double overtime. Let's start from there, and then we'll start, I guess, with Edmonton, Dallas, and then we'll get into the Eastern Conference over there. So, boys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So I don't know. I guess Connor, I felt like you had some pretty good stuff you were talking about on the way over pre-pod. So I'm just going to start with you. How do you feel about the Edmonton Dallas series so far?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tight. I originally guessed, in my own mind, I should say, I don't know if I've vocalized it much, that Edmonton would take it in 7. I think a lot of people wanted to just write off Edmonton and Dallas being more of a powerhouse, but when you have the two best players on the planet, I just don't think you can count them out like that.
Absolutely.
Also, Edmonton's power play is really deadly. Like, really the only thing lacking in Edmonton is their depth and their goaltending, but we've seen weirder from goaltending in the past. It doesn't always have to be the Vezina winner winning it. It can be your second string or just a goalie who wasn't that good in the regular season and then take off in the playoffs.
Do you think Skinner's, I'm super biased because it was against Vancouver. Do you think Skinner is really bad, or is it just we obviously are going to hop on the he sucks?
No, I think he's a decent goalie. I don't by any means think he's anywhere close to being a top 10, but he's definitely at least league average.
Okay.
And again, in the playoffs, especially when you have the offense they have, I think that is enough to get through and even win the whole thing. But yeah, I think Skinner's okay. I think Vancouver had a theme all year where we didn't always need the most shots to pot the most goals.
Absolutely.
We had the highest scoring shooting percentage, I think, in the league, or we were in the top 3. So no, I think he's okay. I think he's good enough.
And Gabe, how do you feel about, I guess let's start with Edmonton there and their team. What do you think? Or I guess the series, Connor felt Edmonton's going to win it in 7.
Yeah. Well, I want to continue on Skinner there because I think, I just want to skip to Skinner.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's really confidence-based, looking at his track record. I mean, at the beginning of the year, he almost lost his job, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think if in Game 2 they blow 4 or 5 past him, that could really shift everything again. Like Skinner will get Game 3, whatever happens, I think, but Picard could look at another start, Game 5 or 6, if anything. And I still think Dallas could really take Edmonton in maybe 6 right now.
Okay.
I think Edmonton played really well last night, but I think Dallas still has it in them to change up their tactics. Edmonton really relies on Draisaitl. So
yeah, that's I think that's the weird thing with Edmonton is even if you are like, okay, you know what, Edmonton should lose to this team that's better than them, on any given night, McDavid and Draisaitl can outdo any team.
Yeah,
Draisaitl's insane, man. Just seeing him score yesterday was.
So, do you guys? Let's just kind of. Does one of you want to run down what happened in the game? I didn't get a chance to see it.
I just saw highlights, so I don't know. You maybe watched more than I did, Gabe.
Just the third period, third and overtimes, but I felt Edmonton controlled the game pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the shot counter after the second period, and I was pretty shocked. Like, Edmonton was out shooting Dallas when Dallas is at home. So, yeah, it seemed like Edmonton had pretty good control.
And what about, let's talk about Dallas for a bit. For me, I feel like Dallas, it's kind of this nice story of you have Dallas was supposed to be good a while ago. And I feel like I don't want to see that team they underperformed, I guess, if you thought they were going to win a cup, but they were a good team. But they did kind of underperform for they had Jamie Benn again and all this talk about them.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see them now. Pavelski's there. They're doing good. How do you guys feel about them?
They're in an interesting spot because they kind of have, you were mentioning, the old era, but the new eras come up and they're producing now. So the fact that you have all those vets from their previous core who are still good vets, decent players, but now you have this next young wave. It's kind of like if Canucks, had not just JT Miller, but we had one or two other guys like JT Miller, and then we had the young guys we have too.
Right.
So it's there's a lot to work with. It could be a night where Ben and Seguin put on the veteran caps and do what they need to do, but then the next night it might be the Wyatt Johnsons and Stankovens and Heiskanens that might do it. So it's they're deep. their deep team. Like they don't even have their top center right now. Rupe Hintz is injured. He missed the first game.
No way, I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
so with him out, being able to almost beat them is impressive. I just feel like they're a deep, deep team. Defense is great. I mean, we love Chris Tanev. He's been amazing over there.
Yeah, it's always good to see former beloved Canucks doing well.
Yeah, exactly. They've got a good goalie. Didn't have a great regular season, but he's turned it on in the playoffs. And
Who's better, Skinner or Ottinger?
Ottinger? Not even.
Okay.
Ottinger's top 3, I'd say, in the league.
He's
Okay.
Ottinger's like I've thought him and Demko's careers have been like right on track with each other. They came up, drafted around the same time. I think second round, late first, whatever it was.
Both had their big injuries at some
Yeah,
point.
had an injury, but they both proved themselves all the way through whatever route, college, AHL to here, and they're like the same age,
Is he
same.
Canadian or
Under is
Swede, I think.
Swedish, right?
honestly, now that you said it, I don't know.
I think he's a Swede. I'll look that up.
I think he's American, but
But yeah, Dallas's drafting has been
unreal.
top notch.
Yeah, super
Top
good.
notch. Like they have.
He's American. He's American.
Oh, okay.
So Gabe, how do you feel about Dallas?
Yeah, I feel they're really stacked. I think they're my cup favorite right now. I know Florida is doing really well and New York as well, but I think Dallas has the depth. If they lose one guy, they're still okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say it's funny because Ben and Seguin they felt like they were on the decline earlier this year.
oh yeah,
Like they started terribly, and then the owners called them out.
Yeah.
And then I think that's 2 years in a row the owners have called them out, and right after they kind of trajected upwards, which is kind of funny because usually it's like it usually works backwards.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
All the media gets on them, but I guess that's
They're older vets though, so they might take it the right way versus a 21-year-old getting called out and then follows it up with a piss poor season.
And I always wonder, basketball is notorious for this, that you have these guys that they like homer the season
Yeah,
until it becomes important.
Yeah.
And just got to wonder if the owners 2 years in a row have called you out and clearly your performance goes up if you're not just doing that.
a little bit, right? They make a ton of money, both of them. They're on the back ends of their careers and contracts. Like, yeah, and maybe it's because they know the grueling task of a regular season and a deep playoff run, so they're like, "Fuck it, I'm going to play 80% of me through the last second half of the year because I want to be 100+% once playoffs comes."
I think if you're
Yeah,
actually,
You're doing,
I think if you're actually a pro athlete in that situation, you do that because it is like they know it's grueling and hard, and you can't just output 82 games, go into the playoffs,
Yeah.
24 games or whatever you play, and go that hard and just keep doing it. It's like impossible, even for the best of the best.
yeah, exactly. You're probably going to get hurt or something's going to happen. So, I mean, yeah, they're just a deep team. They got lots of options, like Gabe said.
Gabe,
Somebody
and Robertson still hasn't gone in yet.
I was going to say, Gabe, I'd love to hear about your takes on Robertson. I know you're a fan.
He's my Asian rise in hockey players, and he's the start of it in this generation at least. I really like him. You know, I've watched him over for 2-3 years now. He's one of my top fantasy players, but I haven't seen him really come out in the playoffs yet. He hasn't really shown up consistently yet. He's had a couple games here, but not taken over a series to my recollection. And would love to see him take over, but I don't know. It's right now. It seems like it's all the teams are focusing on shutting him and hits down.
Is he supposed to? Is he like top line center takes over games, or is he still blooming into that?
I mean, regular season, he's gone on spurts where he's like 2 points per game for 20-30 games, right? So it's
Okay.
everyone's.
He's that natural goal scoring winger who can be streaky.
Okay.
But you see the hints, Pavelski and Robertson. That line has been okay. They've been shut down, and you can see that their physicality is kind of wearing on them. They're not a big line, right? They're just a very skilled line that's designed to be good in the regular season, and need to step it up. But yeah, I haven't really seen that yet.
All right, so that's so with that, Connor, you said you're going to go with Oilers in 7. You said.
Yeah, Oilers in 7.
Do you want to make any other predictions for the series, goals, stuff like that?
I think it's going to be very similar scorelines to what we had against Edmonton. A lot of 1-goal games, like 3-2, 30 seconds left. The team takes a lead and wins it, or like we saw double overtime in the first game, so that kind of hints at that too. But I just think they're going to be pretty evenly matched. They're different teams, but they're just, there's depth versus elite talent kind of going on. Not that there's not elite talent in Dallas too, but Yeah, I just think it's going to be a lot of 3-2 games, and it's going to be real close.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, even within the realm of elite talent, Draisaitl and McDavid are maybe even 2 steps above that.
Yeah.
And Gabe, what are your predictions?
I'm still going to say Dallas in 6 right now, and I think going back to Robertson, this is going to be the series, if any, that he turns up. Then I could see maybe 4 or 5 goals from him, a couple on the power play if they start unlocking. I'm really hoping in game 2 that they kind of just beast mode and go like 4-2 or 5-2 versus Dallas, and then see where it goes from there. Just shake Skinner's confidence a little bit.
All right, I'm gonna just go bold here. What am I gonna say here? I'm gonna go Edmonton sweep. But I'll be honest, I'm just making a brash, bold statement more than really a valid one.
It could happen. Like, it really could. Like, I think even if they sweep them, it'd be one of those sweeps where every game was like a goal.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you got swept, but like half of them were OT or like
Off your
second
shin,
goal.
last
So
second
it's
goal.
like, it could happen. And I mean, that would be pretty shocking to a lot of people. But
Okay, so now, sorry, you go ahead.
I was going to say I didn't touch on Edmonton at all, but like too much. But
Watch it. You know,
I was just going to say Bouchard's been really solid this playoffs. Like, I've been really impressed by his play. I was following him alongside McCarr this year, and in all of his stats, like hits, blocks, plus minus, except plus minus, were aligned with McCarr. And in the playoffs, he's really, I think he might be the top defenseman so far this playoffs.
he is, yeah.
I mean, that's who we were talking about this before the pod, Connor and I.
On the way over.
So who do you take? What Connor? Can you just repose that question that you were talking about?
Yeah, so I think I had mentioned, I thought there's kind of like a tier where there's like McCarr, Quinn Hughes, and Adam Fox, and then there's like this tier that's just below them, but maybe getting to that level of like Dobson, Bouchard, Heiskanen, and Dahlin. And
I agree.
yeah, I was saying to Derek too on the way over how crazy it is that if we never got Quinn Hughes and Detroit did draft him like they should have, funny enough, the next 2 options were Bouchard and Dobson.
I wouldn't have minded.
I know, so it's like, I love Quinn Hughes, but it would not have been a bad consolation prize.
And Bouchard's bigger too, right?
Yeah.
So that's exactly.
Yeah, it's,
Which is always
Sorry,
the debate.
Captain. Sorry,
Yeah,
Captain.
yeah, sorry, Hughes. Sorry, Hughes.
again, I prefer Hughes now, absolutely, but I remember at the time thinking I was fully of the mindset of we were drafting one of Dobson or Bouchard. I think they went a couple picks after both of them, but obviously I'll be forever thankful to Detroit for fucking up.
Yep.
And,
All right.
come to us.
Now let's go on to the Eastern Conference. Florida versus New York Rangers. That game is 5:00 tonight, so we'll probably be watching that once we arrive.
Yeah.
Gabe, we'll start with you on this one. How do you feel about this series? What do you think is going to happen?
I think Florida is a team of destiny. On the Eastern side, they're bound to make the finals. Bob's just playing out of his mind this year, and unless something drastic happens, I think they're on their way. Even as good as New York have been playing, I just don't think. I think Florida's built top to bottom, as solid as you can get. They're what Dallas is going to be in like 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Like they're in prime territory to succeed.
All right. And Connor, sorry, Gabe. And how many games?
I'll say Florida in 6 as well.
All right, and over to you, Connor. What are you thinking?
This one's tougher for me. I think they're evenly matched. Different teams, but evenly matched. I'm going to say Florida in 7. I do think, like Gabe said, they're very deep. They've got a good mix of older guys and younger guys. Bobrovsky has been great. He's the kind of goalie that could steal a series. This might be that series. It's kind of my guess. It's crazy because he's battling Shesterkin, who's arguably the best.
Damn, that is a good
Why-
battle. Right?
It's just, yeah, they're just 2 very deep teams. Florida is just, they'll beat you whatever way they have to. They can score 5 goals, but they'll beat you 2-1
Right.
and play a physical brand of hockey. The Rangers are very much like a running gun offense. They've got so much offensive talent and a great goalie, but I don't know if they can play the physical way that Florida plays. I think Florida's just going to outwork them and just draw more penalties and just beat them down.
And yeah, I just love Florida. See, I love the Bobrov thing of like, anyone that's listening to this podcast is someone we know, and we all know the Bob Robb story, right? Like
Yeah.
we've laughed about it for years now.
Yeah, he's still probably overpaid, if I'm being honest, which is weird to say.
He's got it
But
for another 5 years, I think.
I
right?
know. It's when they signed that deal, I thought, oh god, like, no one's gonna succeed here. It was kind of like a Luongo contract.
And then they drafted Spencer Knight.
Yeah, which I mean, lucky, unlucky for them, he's dealing with some personal issues.
Yeah. But he'll come up. I think he'll come up.
I think he'll figure his stuff out. and be
So,
back.
yeah, so I like Bob Robb. I honestly don't know. I like Zibanejad a lot.
Yeah.
So I can get behind him. I don't honestly. I'm just gonna say Florida. I like Kachuk as well. I feel like he is a monster. And
Yep.
my question to you both: with Kachuk leaving for Florida, I think an easy thing to say is the tax break and money is a reason you go to Florida. Or like that's why I want to go there.
Yep.
But do you think he was sitting there looking at Calgary and he's like, "This is just a dying dog, and I want to go somewhere where I can win"?
It's tough to say because, like, at the time, Calgary was number one in the West. He left after they were first in the West. They had, I think, a disappointing playoffs, but like,
Right.
they were a great team. Him, Gaudreau, and Lindholm were the best line in hockey that year.
Did Gaudreau leave before?
They left the same year.
No, like
That
the same,
first.
like
Uh,
I think
Summer-
it was the
summer
end of
months,
the
right?
year, right?
yeah, no, Kachuk went first because he told them as an RFA he's not signing.
right.
So they traded him as soon as they could to
for
get
draft picks here, I think. Right?
yeah, draft picks, whatever they needed, versus Gaudreau strung along Calgary until he just walked the day of free agency. So, yeah, I think, I don't know what it was. Like, I think he's American, and you had a choice between Calgary and Miami, Florida, or wherever. I think part of that was the equation. He
That's
wanted to go
fair.
somewhere nice. Maybe he realized Calgary's roster wasn't quite as sustainable as a team like Florida, looking at like the Barkovs and what they had going on. But I think the teams were pretty even. I think he just chose one because it was in America and a much nicer state of sun and golf.
Yeah. We're missing the big piece. Coach Sutter.
Right. That is a great point, actually. I forgot he was still the coach.
Yeah, I would walk away from that.
Yeah, Daryl Sutter just seems to be a piece of shit for the most part.
It's crazy how
It's one of those coaches who get the most out of you, but you'll hate him.
Really?
yeah, it's crazy how that works, dude. I don't know. It's just crazy to me because I'm always I believe in people thriving through like they feel comfortable and believe in themselves, not being told like you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, there's like having accountability for your player, or making your players have accountability, and then just being a dick.
Yeah.
So it's like, I always think at some level players look at coaches like father figures. We've all
that's
seen
fair.
different versions of fathers, whether there's like the fun, loving one like the Bruce Boudreaux, who may, get you some good bursts of games or whatever, but then like don't really hold you accountable and they let things slip and then your team falls apart. Or there's the Daryl Sutters who gets the most out of you and makes you work your hardest, but you resent and hate the person so
He's
much
abusive.
that you're willing to leave the team.
That's so
And then I think there's what Canucks have finally found, which is Talk It, which is that mixture of like making you accountable and still treating you like, a mentor, but he's just a pretty chill guy from what I could tell. Like he could sit down and have a beer with the boys.
well, he's a hockey player, like,
Yeah.
but I mean that in like the most truest form. Like he was they when he sees them doing dumb shit, he probably goes like, "Yo, I wouldn't do that," as opposed to be like, "You fucking idiots," because he was probably sitting there like,
Dude.
"I remember doing that
Oh,
shit."
way worse.
Right?
Way worse.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know. I think Talkett's bald head makes him seem a little more intimidating. Like, I don't want to say he's not intimidating,
Yeah.
but I think it makes him seem a little harder than he is, because he definitely doesn't come off to me as a guy that's like screaming at you and calling you a piece of shit.
No, I think he can, but he's also the guy that would probably like apologize right after, versus Daryl Sutter who'd give you like the silent treatment and then like try to trade you or something. Like, I don't know. Talkett's just, he's willing to say it like it is, but he knows the lines and the boundaries of what you can and should not do.
Okay, I got to pivot off of Talkett. Gabe, do you want to say something about Talkett?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
but then we got to, because this is the hardest part, is we always go back to the Canucks.
Well, I just like his ability to control the media. I think a coach that is able to spin the media the way that he can to control the positivity of the city is amazing.
Absolutely.
I always relate back now that Mourinho's gone from the Prem for so many years. His ability to control the media and put the team on his back in that sense was really impressive.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's weird. Yeah, Gabe, that's a very good point because Talkit came into a. Okay, you know what?
Boudreaux, it was a Boudreaux
I'm sorry,
right?
we got to go back to the. we're gonna do a Canucks pod, so. Okay, so you've both agreed on Florida. You know what? I'm gonna go opposite. I'm gonna say Rangers will do it at 7, just to be the other side of it.
Yep.
Why? I'm just gonna go on. Zibanejad plays well, and Shesterkin's the best goalie in the league. That's my reasoning. But let's talk about the Rangers a bit. So if you think Florida's going to win, maybe let's talk about a few things that are good about the Rangers, but also like the weaknesses they have that you see why Florida's going to win. So why they're not the complete team, I guess. Right. Gabe, you want to go first?
Sure. I mean, I would say they're fairly evenly matched up. It's just who's going to be hotter over 7 games, 6 or 7 games, really. I mean, that Trocheck-Panarin line has taken another step this year. Last year, it was their first year together, and they were doing okay, but not to the level of chemistry that they found this year, and that's really helped them propel their 2-3 lines to have a really profound effect playing together. Yeah, I've always liked Trocheck, but he didn't settle too well the first year.
Me too. I'm a big Trocheck fan. He's dope.
Yeah, he's been on all my favorite teams: Florida, Carolina, and now New York.
All right. Conor, over to you.
Yeah. Again, I think Rangers have a really good offense. They've got a line with Zibanejad and Kreider and Lafreniere, I think, plays the other wing. And then they've got Trocheck and Panarin on another line with whomever's riding shotgun with them, too. They've got a pretty strong defense. I think, Adam Fox is really good. Lindgren, is pretty good, and Trouba and Keandre Miller. For me, I don't know what it is. I just think Florida's bottom 6 and maybe even things like the third pair defense and all that is a little bit better. I just think for some reason Matt Tkachuk and Barkov would step up to a bigger moment faster than all of New York Rangers guys. They're very evenly matched. Like Gabe said, it could go either way. I would be shocked if it doesn't go to 7 games. I just think it's going to come down to maybe who's the hotter goalie and maybe who gets a better power play going or something along those lines. But it's going to be a really tight series.
All right, so I think we'll wrap it on that. We got 22 minutes, and this is pretty freaking good. Okay, so we'll say Conor and Gabe believe what do you think the final will be? So give me that.
For me, Florida, Edmonton. That's what I've settled on.
Florida, Dallas.
So we'll revisit after this these 2 series are over, and we'll just kind of talk and see how our predictions went, and go from there. Make some predictions for the final. Hope you guys enjoyed tuning in for a little hockey chat on a Friday afternoon. Enjoy your weekend.